the thing that keeps coming up with AppLovin as we get closer and closer to it is the scalability potential. So the ability to deploy dollars, a material amount of dollars, is very similar to what we've seen from Meta over the years. And that makes it, I think that's the thing that everybody's the most interested about with AppLovin specifically.
This episode is brought to you by Fermat. Whether you're running paid ads on Meta, Google, or TikTok, Fermat can help you increase your conversion rates without touching your website. They help you save time by generating high-converting landing pages in minutes using AI and boost your ROI growth with built-in A/B testing and real-time optimization. Fermat offers seamless integration with your ad platforms and Shopify checkout, so you can create custom post-click experiences without designers or developers. Over 500 brands have scaled their e-commerce business with Fermat, improving their conversion rates by an average of 30%. Go to Fermat.com/CTC today and sign up for your exclusive 7-day trial. That's FERMAT.com/CTC. All right, welcome folks to the DTC Hotline. This is your direct connection to hot takes, to cold truths, and to real e-com advice from the best in the biz. I'm your host, Richard Professor Gaffin. Call or text 866-DTC-2263 to get your burning e-com questions answered. Again, that's 866-382-2263. Leave a voicemail, shoot us a text, asking whatever is on your mind DTC-wise. Our operators are standing by. And speaking of operators, let me introduce them both to you right here. We got Tony the Chopper Shop and Luke the Weatherman Austin, both coming in from CTC Studios in sunny Costa Mesa, California. Although my understanding is actually it's raining right now. Is that right?
Not currently,
Not currently.
but just for like this minute, because we are in the middle of like a week-long rain event.
A rain event. My goodness.
It's an event. I mean, whenever there's the comparison I always draw, speaking of the weather, is when we were in Chicago, you'd be going down the interstate 60, 70 blizzard. Like it would just be coming down. No one, like maybe slow down 5-10 miles per hour, maybe. California, one drop of rain, it's just brake lights everywhere. Just an absolute parking lot. 45 miles per hour on the freeway. I remember coming to California for the first time. The first time there was rain, all the kids who were from California went outside to like dance around because they see it once a year. It's insane. But anyway, as you can see from my background here, it's sunny in Portland, which is a bizarre swap. So let's get right into it here. So our question today, obviously, we're recording this 1 week and change before Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And obviously, we're all running all over the place, getting prepared for that. But one question that I want to ask, and this is particularly for you, Tony, but Luke, you're free to jump as well, is about AppLovin, which is, again, this is sort of the name that's been on everybody's lips as we think about a platform that could potentially be something as dynamic as Meta. Maybe it's not there yet, but it has the potential to do so. Tony, you and I have talked about this on our other podcast, the e-commerce playbook, before, but I don't think we've talked about it on this one. So let's dive in here with the question: how is AppLovin shaping up for you guys for BFCM? How do you think the platform is going to affect your clients, and any other observations? So start with you, Tony.
Well, so the thing that keeps coming up with AppLovin as we get closer and closer to it is the scalability potential. So the ability to deploy dollars, a material amount of dollars, is very similar to what we've seen from Meta over the years. And that makes it, I think that's the thing that everybody's the most interested about with AppLovin specifically. When it comes to the Snapchats or the Pinterests of the world, it's like, can we make it work? And do we find it working for some advertisers, for some audiences and specific products? Like, yeah, 100%. But the magnitude of the scale for these channels is just smaller. And so with AppLovin, the conclusion for me is the scale is there. So we've been spending the last 6 or 8 weeks around the measurement piece of the puzzle. Like, okay, cool. We can blast through the media dollars there. How effective do we believe that is? And as we've gone through a series of incrementality tests for a handful of clients, we have 2 more that are in the post-treatment analysis phase. and several more that are going to be ending over the course of the next 5 or 6 days. There's a through line through this whole thing, which is every incrementality test that we've seen so far has come back positively incremental, aka the channel is creating more business value than the platform is reporting. And the only other place that we see that happening regularly is Meta, 7-day click, tight attribution. So these two things are combining for what I believe is a big opportunity. And we're taking a posture of, actually, let me back that up a step. If you haven't already done an incrementality test on AppLovin, probably too late to get that read before Black Friday, Cyber Monday. But we are actually going into this position with several clients of we're going to deploy some media dollars against what we've learned from the incrementality studies across our portfolio. So we're getting the easiest answer to the question, Richard, is we're becoming more and more confident about the contribution of the channel, so much so that we're getting some things set up for some clients that's a little bit out of order for us. Usually we would start with the incrementality test and then go deploy the media. But based on where we're at, coming with Black Friday, Cyber Monday coming up, we're going to get some media going for sure.
Yeah, Luke, what are you observing?
I think with launching any new media channel, AppLovin included, there's like a sort of chicken and egg conversation that tends to happen around, okay, what level of scale will it be worth it for us to run this channel at? And if we can't get to that level of scale, maybe we don't even try at all. And then, well, we need to understand what the measurement read looks like for this channel before we know what the target should be. And we're confident scaling, but we need enough data to be able to know what the target should be, right? And so for AppLovin specifically, and then we more broadly, in terms of how we think about channel expansion at CTC, is we're going to get the focus out of the gate is getting the data and the setup tight, pixel tracking, campaign setup, getting everything really tight, the feed, et cetera, so that we have confidence that we're giving as much signal, passing back as much signal as possible to the campaigns to optimize. And then we're going to utilize a benchmark assumption around incrementality to be able to scale up the channel, because it is the best source of truth that we have at that point in time. So you can be more confident in it than you can be in anything else that you have in that time. No, your incrementality for that channel will not be that exact number after you run a test, but that it is going to be closer to that than any other point that you could pick on average. And so that is our approach, which I think is novel in that it helps to instill confidence early on in the channel. Because to Tony's point, if we're spending $500 a day in a channel and we run an incrementality test, once we start spending $3,000 a day or $5,000 a day, the incrementality is going to be totally different, right? So we need something that we can all get alignment and buy-in to be able to scale up against in the shorter term until we have that read, knowing it's going to change as we scale the channel. So that's for AppLovin specifically. For channels more broadly, get the setup tight, get the data integrated, and then alignment around a benchmark in terms of the measurement assumption for your target, and scale it up. It's going to be more incremental to having that live than not having it live for the business. The specific level, it's going to change over time, and it should continue to be measured. But if the analysis paralysis is what is inhibiting from even trying, that's probably not a positive EV trade-off in that decision. It's not necessary to, because we don't know these things, we're not going to launch it at all, is not our approach.
Still sending people from email, SMS, or direct mail to the same old product pages? It's time to level up with Fermat's AI landing page and PDP builder. In just minutes, you can spin up personalized landing pages and PDPs for every channel, from email campaigns to QR codes and direct mail to paid ads. No designer, no developer, no waiting around. And that's just the start. With Fermat, you can A/B test every funnel, customize experiences by audience, and track performance across all your channels, all in one sleek dashboard. Now here's the kicker. Most people think Fermat is just for ads, but actually 80% of our customers use it in email, direct mail, and every place they need a landing page that works harder. Try it yourself, free for 7 days. Head to fermat.com/CTC or just click the first link in the description.
Right. So to summarize then, what you're saying is if you can do it, you should do it. Is that fair?
You should do it right now for sure. I've seen enough at this early stage to say, like, if it's me and it's my money that I'm spending for my brand, I'm gonna put some chips on the AppLovin card here for Black Friday. The only thing I would add, so this trade-off, right? This chicken and egg problem, good measurement on one side of the scale, on the other side of the scale, deploying the media dollars to get to the good measurement, you're going to have performance that is atypical from a Black Friday, Cyber Monday investment on AppLovin. So if we're going to sort of lean towards like, all right, we're going to go deploy the media dollars during Black Friday and Cyber Monday, very, very good chance it's going to look really good. That doesn't mean don't come back and get good measurement on it, because all the more so because you're going to have an outlier result from Black Friday, Cyber Monday. You got to come back and get the good measurement on it, so we know how to deploy the media dollars through the channel in a more stable period, not Black Friday, Cyber Monday.
Yeah. So one thing, I mean, and obviously you're both data guys. That's how we do things at CTC. So feels like you're being both a little circumspect about like how potentially huge this could be. And maybe I'm misinterpreting here, but our conversation actually, Tony, on Commerce Playbook, this was probably 3 or 4 weeks ago, or maybe this was even on Hotline. I don't remember. But one thing that we sort of determined is like one thing that AppLovin does, it actually, and the incrementality tests bear this out, is actually unlocks genuinely new inventory and new audience. And so are we looking at like there's a potential for Black Friday to be massive in a way that hasn't been before, something unprecedented, or is this just like a little bit of nice little extra sauce on top? Like what's the upshot?
No, I think the potential is huge, but if I'm being really, really honest about it, I think this year is, 10%, maybe 15% impact. But by the time we have a year to get to know this channel, by Black Friday, Cyber Monday in 2026, I think we're going to be deploying a significant amount of media dollars through the AppLovin channel. So I think it's a little bit of a circumspect. Maybe I'm hedging my bets a little bit. I have a pretty high level of confidence that it's going to be really effective for a lot of our brands. We're still early on in the measuring process, and some of the, I don't want to say it feels too good to be true, but the ability to deploy the media dollars at this volume is like I mentioned in the very beginning, it's unlike anything that we've ever seen. So it's crazy to think that we could have a second channel that behaves, that has a similar potential to what Meta does for our brands.
Yeah. So in short, then deploy it this season.
Yeah,
absolutely do it. Next season, what we're going to see is something that's unprecedented or bigger than that.
Well, and Luke and I have been talking about this for a little while. It's like with all these media channels, all these new channel activations, like I think it's more like, I'm not a big fan of the language that sounds like we're going to test XYZ channel. It's really low stakes. It's really non-committal, right? So my preferred language is like, we're going to become an AppLovin advertiser. And between now over the next 6 months or 9 months or whatever that timeline is, we're going to figure out all the different dimensions for how to make that true. And if you're going to pick an identity for an advertising channel that you want to go become good at, this one feels like a pretty good bet.
Luke? Yeah, to double down on what Tony said, it may seem like just a language shift, but it's critically important, which is like we should align on how much resource we're willing to put into launching a net new channel and then assessing the viability at a certain point in time. So we do have to sort of do that analysis on the front end. But that typically how we see most of these conversations start is, all right, yeah, let's launch on Snap or TikTok or AppLovin or Pinterest. Let's run it for 30 days and see what happens. And it's not going to work. It is absolutely going to underserve the opportunity, the potential that it could if you approach it that way. And in many cases, it's just going to fall flat because you need to work to make it work. Just like for Meta, like we just don't have a choice as a direct consumer e-commerce business. Like that, you got to make Meta work for the business, right? There's not other options out there, and it's not a direct comparison AppLovin to Meta or Snapchat to Meta. But what it represents is that the amount of focus and intention and strategy that goes into making Meta work, the same way we position, okay, over the course of the first half of the year of 2026, we are going to become an AppLovin advertiser, which means for us that we can spend this volume of ad dollars at this level of incremental return. That is the objective. And what we're going to do is launch the media, run the measurement tests, and then scale the creative output to be able to get to that objective over that time period. And then at the end of the time period, we're going to assess the results, and then we'll make a decision from there. But like this positioning and framing is how we're orienting these conversations. And I think it's critically important to actually getting to realizing the potential of a net new channel, because it's challenging. There's competitors that have been running AppLovin apps for the past 18 months, right, on the platform that are in your subset. They just have a lot more reps. It's going to take some time, but you can get there. It will become a channel that can produce incremental contribution dollars for the business if you approach it as such.
Both of you have touched on this a little bit, but I was hoping like you could kind of distill into some kind of quick hit do's and don'ts for approaching AppLovin over the next week and a half or so as we go into Black Friday. So obviously there's like making sure measurement is on point and all that kind of thing, but like what are some quick like things to watch out for, things to make sure that you put in place as a
do approach it as if in March of 2026, it's going to comprise 15 to 20% of your total media spend, is what I'd throw out as like a, way to think about it. Like in Q1, Q2 of this coming year, say this channel is going to be 10, 15, 20% of our total media mix. If you approach it that way, the behavior is going to be very different than let's see how much we can scale this thing. Because if you have a media channel that's driving 10% of your media mix, like you can't just be like, I'm good, because you have to get the volume from somewhere else. So approach it that way. AppLovin's going to be 10% of our total media spend in April 2026. And TikTok is going to be in a similar range, right? And like do it that way for the channel expansion, and then let the behavior and the resources index accordingly to build up to that point.
Tony?
Yeah, I mean, just logistical things. If you're on a Shopify store, start with the Shopify sales channel. It's going to help you get feed and pixel stuff set up really quick and easily. We're running everything super consolidated. So one campaign, ad sets broken out by product or offer. So it's as consolidated as possible. We're using primarily UGC content creator style creative for the most part. It's useful to consider that AppLovin ads there's no skip and there's no scroll. So they have to be watched. So you have an opportunity to use some of your longer form content, and we see some of that stuff actually working better. So the longer form, the 45-second, the 60-second stuff. And then there's one piece, there's sort of one unique piece to the AppLovin ecosystem, which is the end card. So it's a static that sits at the end of the ad unit, and we're finding some opportunity to explore the call to action at that stage. But yeah, so Richard, you wanted a punchline. Go in Shopify, install the Axon sales channel, get your feed and pixel, get your pixel firing today. That's the number one thing you could be doing today. If you want to get to Luke's endpoint of March of next year, I want this to be 10% of my media mix. Today, get the app installed, get the pixel firing.
All right. Well, I think that kind of covers our bases here. And so just to distill our two kind of words of wisdom here, it's treat this as a long-term investment because it's going to be and it's going to work in that manner. And then second, make sure you get your pixel set up and do it now, because this is something that you need to have ready to go for this Black Friday, which is only, by the time you hear this, only a week away. Unbelievable. So I think those takes honestly were hot enough for Hot Take Corner. So I think we can leave it at that. I'll only say, I sure hope that I see some more Hawaiian shirts next time record. But anyway, that's going to do it for us this week's episode. If you want your questions answered on this pod, you can just call and leave us a voicemail, 866-DTC-2263. You can shoot us a text there as well, and we might read your question on a subsequent episode. So for Tony, the Chopper Chop, and for Luke, the Weatherman Us, I'm Richard, the Professor Gaffin, signing off. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you next time.